What is going on, guys? It's Criticals here, coming back at you with another video. Just kidding, this is basically my first video, so coming at you with my first video to be exact. And in this one, I'm going to be showing you guys the best way to start off Diamond Dynasty right when you get the game. What you want to do first. That's going to give you the best shot at growing your team without necessarily spending a lot of money on the game. And the thing you want to do is, when you start the game, is you want to go straight away and you want to unlock some of these players that can be redeemed in the programs. Like the Babe Ruth, there's ones in multiple ones of these. There's the Babe Ruth, there's the Piazza, there's the King Griffey Jr., there's this Bob Gibson, there's a couple of these player arc ones that you can get. And these you don't have to spend any stubs or do any missions. They're just there for you to unlock so that you can start working on these missions. Like this Utley, for instance, you need 3 hits with him in any games. It doesn't have to just be in one game, so that's fairly easy. And then once you get those guys, you want to put them in your lineup along with the team you're going to have from just starting up Diamond Dynasty. And what you want to do first is you want to start playing Conquest. Conquest is basically it's probably the most simple mode in the game that you don't need a great team to play. You don't need a great team to complete the missions. And so you want to play Conquest, and the reason you want to do that is because it's very easy to complete. It takes quite a bit of time, but it doesn't require a lot of skill or even a very good team necessarily. And there's quite a bit of missions for them, and these are some of the things you unlock for it. And so the missions, what you have to do is you have to conquer each team, and once you conquer a few of these teams, you're going to get some players, and these players you then need to do a mission with them in Conquest games, which is fairly easy. You just put them in your lineup right after you get them and play, and just keep playing Conquest, just to try to get the missions with them. The only one that's really difficult at all is this George Brett, mainly because you need a double with him and he has awful power, so it's kind of difficult to hit a double with him. But yeah, that's basically what you do. And after you complete Conquest, and you'll then unlock these AL hitting stats, AL pitching stats, NL pitching stats, NL hitting stats. And for these you're gonna once again, you get those players, you get these players as well, and then you use those players to put them in your lineup and then play like a play versus CPU game on rookie, and you'll need to acquire like certain amounts of stats and whatever. It's fairly easy. Once you do those, you'll then unlock the MLB hitting stats, MLB pitching stats. That just is a combination of the AL and NL players in your lineup, getting stats with them, and that's fairly easy as well to do in a play versus CPU game on like rookie difficulty. Then also, once you get to that point, you'll then have to do these MLB player exchanges, these MLB souvenir exchanges. They're nothing too crazy. You don't have to do a lot for them. And yeah, that's about it for the Conquest missions. So they're fairly easy, and that is definitely what you want to do when you start up the game, once you first get into Diamond Dynasty when you're getting started. And now I'm going to show you guys the missions that you get for Conquest. Alright, so here we are. First off, you get this Joaquin Benoit. He's only 80 overall, but fairly good per 9s for a relief pitcher. His fastball can get up to 95 miles per hour, so it's not bad at all. And you get him pretty early, so it's a good addition to the bullpen early on, especially because you don't usually start off with the greatest bullpen. Then you're going to get this 81 overall breakout Adrian Gonzalez. That is a pretty good card, actually, for this early on in the game, or just starting up the game. His hitting stats are fairly good, got good contact, mediocre power, but you can hit him out with him against the CPU. Then his defense is pretty good, actually, for a first baseman, and you can also throw him in right field if you really need to. although I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as he does only have 32 speed. Next, you're going to have this pitcher Ron Guidry with the Yankees. It's his Impact Veteran card. This card really isn't that great, but he can get the job done against the CPU. Probably not a card you're going to want to use later on in the game at all. And there's this 83 overall shortstop Ian Desmond All-Star Series card. And this card's actually pretty good. He's got alright fielding and pretty good speed. And then his hitting attributes are fairly good for a shortstop. 65 and 77 power is actually pretty good for a shortstop. And then 79 and 86 contact is pretty good as well. Then you're going to get this 84 overall Marco Estrada Breakout Series pitcher. And his Ks per 9 is actually pretty good on this card. But his velocity and his pitch selection is fairly good, but he doesn't have a slider, which is a big one. Slider's probably the best pitch in the game. And but yeah, there's that card. And then this Jim Edmonds All-Star Series card is the final one you unlock just by conquering teams in Conquest. So just by doing the regular part of Conquest. And this card actually for me is probably one of my best cards that I've been using out of all the diamond cards I have already. His hitting against right-handed pitching is actually really good. He hits really good in game. 84 power is very good. And then he can put the ball in play very well against lefties as well. It's good contact and decent power. And then he's a great fielder as well. 88 fielding and an 80 arm strength, as well as 63 speed out there in center field. And forgot to mention, you can also play first base, so that's a plus. Then once you start working on those AL and NL hitting and pitching stats, you'll begin to unlock this All-Star Series Diamond 85 overall Cole Hamels. And this card is fairly decent. His velocity on the four-seam fastball isn't the best, but he does have a good variety of pitches, and his sweeping curve is very good. His K9s are alright, nothing too great, but they can definitely get the job done. Definitely a good diamond to have that you can get without spending any money at all on the game. And then you get this 85 overall breakout Edgar Martinez. This card has very good contact and vision. His PCI is going to be huge, especially early on in the game when you're playing on those lower difficulties. And this card has been one of my better hitters, actually. Yeah, 586 batting average, 5 home runs, and only 30 plate appearances. So, yeah, he's a pretty good card. And normally Edgar Martinez cards don't have the best fielding, but this one actually does have 68 fielding along with 68 arms, so he's definitely usable at third base. But if you're playing ranked seasons or something, you probably want to have him at first base. And then the final player you unlock for regular Conquest is this Luis Gonzalez 87 overall Diamond Breakout Series card. He hits very good against right-handed pitching with that 103 contact above the 99 overall and 71 power versus righties. Very good against righties, and he can still hit the ball good against lefties with 98 contact and 41 power. And he also has that 96 vision, so the PCI with this card is going to be very, very big. He also, along with that Edgar card, doesn't have the best fielding stats, but they're definitely usable, especially since he is a left fielder, which is probably where you're going to want him to play. You're not going to want this card in center field or right field. But he doesn't need that great of an arm over in left field, so the 69 arm strength really isn't a big deal. And then he also has 58 speed, so that's nothing too bad. Still decent. And that's it for the first part of Conquest. And another good part about Conquest is once you complete this Conquest Part 1, you then unlock Conquest Extreme, which it definitely is a little bit more difficult, or definitely, not just a little bit more difficult, it's much more difficult, as you do have to win quite a bit of games on Legend, which, if you're decent at the game, is not too bad. You also probably need, like, a better team than, like, a starter team. You probably want, like, a few golds at least. A few golds probably probably almost a whole lineup of golds when you start playing this, because you do have to do stuff like conquer the Dodgers on or before turn 2, which means you're going to have to win probably 2 games on legend difficulty without losing to be able to complete that. But then the rewards for this are pretty dang good. Like, this is one of the easiest rewards to get from this is a Breakout True Storm, an 81 overall gold card. Then you unlock a diamond player, another diamond player, and then 2 high diamond players. And these diamond players are definitely good players, especially these last 2 that you're going to unlock here, as well as this one I think is pretty good. And I'm going to be showing those to you guys in just 1 second. Alright, so the first diamond you get in this is 86 overall Impact Veteran Orlando Cepeda. This card is a very good hitting card. 82 overalls for contact and power versus right, so definitely a good hitter against righties, and then he has like good contact against lefties. Not the greatest card in the field, but he's not going to drag you down too much as he is a first baseman. You don't need the best fielding at first base. Then next you will unlock this 85 overall Breakout Oral Hershiser. Definitely a good card. I like this card a lot in last year's game. He has sinker and cutter, so basically 3 fastballs, with the sinker breaking away from a lefty and into a righty, and then the cutter doing the opposite for you. And his K9s are pretty good. They're alright. So he's definitely a pitcher who can get the job done and a good addition to anyone's team. Next up, you unlock this 86 overall Brian Dozier. He's I believe it is 80% reward, so definitely you have to do quite a bit of Conquest Extreme, which is pretty extreme to say the least. But yeah, he has very good power on this card, especially against lefties. 76 contact and 95 power versus lefties, so definitely crushes the ball against left-handed pitching and hits the ball very hard against righties as well, with above average fielding, I'd say. Doesn't need a very good arm over at second base, and he also has 69 speed and 64 stealing, which is definitely nothing to write home about. And next up, I believe is the 90% reward, is this 93 overall All-Star Yadier Molina. This card has very good contact numbers, 88 versus righties and 105 versus lefties. Also 72 power versus lefties is pretty decent, along with that 94 vision. And then the main part about this card that is so good is the fielding stats. 95 fielding and 99 arm strength, along with 95 blocking at catcher, is absolutely dominant. And he's not the slowest guy, actually. Normally, Yadier Molina cards are pretty slow, but this one actually has 31 speed and 38 stealing. So he can definitely get the job done. Then the last reward you get is probably the best reward out of all the Conquest rewards, is this 92 All-Star Matt Kemp. Great hitting stats on this card, with 104 contact versus lefties, 99 power versus lefties, absolutely destroys lefties, 94 contact versus right, and 78 power versus right, definitely pretty good as well. The only really downside about this card is the vision, only being 54, because his fielding stats and speed are very good. Definitely a card I'd like to have roaming center field, and definitely a card I'm going to be grinding for. But that will be about it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Hope you guys learned something new and now know what you need to be doing right when you start this game up. If you liked what you saw here, please subscribe, leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. Love to see you guys in all my other videos, and that will be about it for me today. See you guys next time.